Before we begin today's story, take a moment to subscribe if you enjoy emotionally driven stories that linger with you long after the video ends. These are the kinds of stories that aren't loud or rushed. They quietly settle into your heart. And if you stay until the end, you might find yourself thinking about this one longer than you expect. Daniel Hart hadn't expected his evening to spiral so quickly. Driving through the freezing Vermont rain, his hands gripped the steering wheel as he replayed the argument with his wife, Emily, again and again. Words that seemed small at first now felt sharp and unbearable. He couldn't even remember how a minor disagreement turned into something so painful. All he knew was that he had walked out before saying something he might regret, promising himself he would calm down before returning home. But the storm outside was relentless. Fog thickened, the roads turned slick with ice, and the failing heater forced him to pull over more than once just to breathe. Realizing he couldn't safely make it home, he turned toward the nearest refuge, his mother-in-law Margaret's cabin. Margaret had always understood him in ways few people could. When he arrived soaked and shivering, she opened the door almost instantly, concern filling her eyes. Without unnecessary questions, she led him inside and sat him near the fireplace. Warmth and the scent of lavender wrapped around him as exhaustion finally caught up. He explained the fight, the storm, and his need for a place to stay. Margaret listened quietly, resting a reassuring hand on his shoulder. She told him he did the right thing by coming and urged him to rest. There was one problem. The guest room was under renovation and the couch was broken. With calm firmness, she insisted he take the bed while she arranged the space properly so it remained comfortable and appropriate. Her steady, maternal presence eased his discomfort. As the storm roared outside, Daniel opened up about how distant things had become between him and Emily. Margaret reminded him that relationships don't fail from conflict alone. They fail from silence. Courage, she said, is choosing to speak honestly even when it feels risky. Hours later, a knock shattered the quiet. It was Emily, drenched, trembling, eyes red from tears. Relief and guilt collided as she stepped inside. Margaret gently gave them privacy. For the first time in months, Daniel and Emily spoke without defenses. She shared her fears of not being enough. He confessed his fear of losing her emotionally. They realized the argument wasn't about anger, it was about unspoken worry. By morning, the storm had softened into drizzle. Sitting together in the early light, they made small promises to speak sooner, listen deeper, and never let silence grow so large again. Margaret watched with quiet pride, reminding them that love survives storms when both people choose to face them together. When they finally left the cabin, sunlight warmed the steps, and Emily's smile carried the gentle certainty that honest love can always find its way back.